All right, guys, lesson number 9. We are going to be on page 81. So let's multiply signed numbers. I can explain what it means when a time is represented with a negative number in a situation about speed and direction. I can multiply two negative numbers. So here we have before and after. Where was the girl 5 seconds after this picture was taken? Mark her approximate location on the picture. Where was the girl 5 seconds before this picture was taken? Mark her approximate location on the picture. So go ahead and hit pause, mark where you think it is, and then we'll go ahead. All right, hopefully you've come up with 2 spots. So 5 seconds after, looks like she's walking at a leisurely pace, but we really don't know, right? So we can say 5 seconds after, maybe she's right there. And 5 seconds before, maybe right there. But it's all a guess, right? All right, turning the page to page 82. A traffic safety engineer was studying travel patterns along the highway. She set up a camera and recorded the speed and direction of cars and trucks that passed by her camera. Positions to the east of the camera are positive and to the west are negative. So once again, the negative position means just west of the camera. The negative time just means before it passed the camera. So in what directions are the cars traveling? Or here are some positions and times for a car. So 3 seconds before she was 180. 2 seconds before she was negative 120. So if we think of everything west of the camera, so the camera's right here. Let me mark it. The camera's right here. So everything over here is west. Everything over here is east. So if you notice, before she is negative and after she passes the camera, she's positive direction. So car's going west to east. What is her velocity? How fast is she traveling? Well, if we take all these numbers and go top column divided by bottom column, we get 60. So going 60 feet per every second. What does it mean when the time is at 0? That means so she crossed the camera. And what does it mean to have a negative time? Negative time just means the time before she crossed the camera. Here's some positions and time for a different car whose velocity is negative 50 feet per second. So negative 50 just means they're going west. So what direction are they traveling? Or west. So we have negative 100, negative 50, 0. So right here, we're going to have 50 if we're just counting up by hundreds. Counting up by 50s. There's the table. In what direction is the car traveling? It's traveling west because at 1 second her direction is negative, so that means she's going west. All right, complete the table. So if you notice here, all we're doing is we're just multiplying these two numbers. Okay, negative 20 times positive 30, negative 20 times positive 30 is negative 600. 32. So on these ones, I would just use my calculator. So 32 times negative 40, that's a negative there, is, using my calculator, negative 1,280. Okay? Negative 35 times negative 20, negative 35, let's see, clear. Negative 35 times negative 20 is 700, positive 700, and negative 15 times negative 8, negative 15 times negative 8, positive 120. Okay? If a car is traveling east when it passes the camera, what position if a car is traveling east when it passes the camera, will its position be positive or negative 60 seconds before? So, if you think of a number line, let's put it right here. East is positive, west is negative, so it's traveling east. So before it passes the camera, it's going to be over here, so it's going to be negative. If we multiply a positive number and a negative number, well, if we look here, a positive times a negative is a negative. If a car is traveling west, which will be, so now it's going the other direction, so I'm going west. So before, now I'm over here on the east side, so it's going to be positive. If we multiply two negatives, so negative times a negative, which is this problem or this problem, I ended up with a positive number. So I'm not a big fan of 9.3, so we're going to skip it here. And this right here on 9.4 is just showing us the difference, like a positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive, or a negative times a negative. Okay? So let's look at the summary. We're on page 87 now. It says, we can use sign numbers to represent time relative to a chosen point in time. We can think of this starting as a stopwatch. The positive times are after the watch stops, and the negative times are before the watch starts. Okay? If a car is at position 0 and is moving in a positive direction, then for times that after that, it will have a positive position. A positive times a positive is a positive. If a car is at position 0 and is moving in a negative direction, then for times after it, it will have a negative position. A negative times a positive is a negative. If a car is at position 0 and is moving in a positive direction, then times before it, it must have a negative position. A positive times a negative is a negative. And if a car is at position 0 and is moving in a negative direction, then 4 times before that, it must have a positive position. A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so the rules. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. So positive times a positive, or negative times a negative. And then if the signs are different, so we get one of each, a positive and a negative, the answer is going to be negative. We can multiply positive numbers in any orders. 3 times 5 is the same as 5 times 3. We can multiply sign numbers in any order. Then negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. We can find negative 5 times 3 plus negative 3 in 2 ways. Well, 3 plus negative 3 is 0, so negative 5 times 0. Or, if we want to use the distributive property, we can go negative 5 times 3, negative 5 times negative 3, and we get 15 plus negative 15, which is still 0. There was nothing special about these particular numbers. This always works. So here are the rules. A positive times a positive is always positive. A negative times a positive, or a positive times a negative, is always negative. And a negative times a negative is always positive. So there you have it. On your assignment today, I think you're just going to be filling in a multiplication chart. Use your calculators, okay? Especially if they're negative numbers. You can always send me an email if you need help.